and there we'll go. Work this jungle like a pro and learn to laugh. Try some food that I don't know. That's the rhythm of my soul, but that's me. What about you?
Hi everyone, this is my beautiful wife.
This is my beautiful wife.
Mwah. And let's dig in and eat. And yum yum. I know we're hungry today. It took me forever to cook. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm like, oh, starving,
Yeah,
starving.
So hungry. I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, it's okay. As long as she cooked.
Yeah, I did cook.
Me and Ariel did some learning. Meanwhile,
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about homeschooling, because we haven't talked about homeschooling for a while now. We were talking in the early days a lot about homeschooling, but
well, yeah, it's our life now.
yeah, like before, like when we started, Ariel wasn't there for a long time in the homeschooling environment, but for now he is for 3 years, 4.
It was middle grade 3. That was in grade 6. So over 3 years, if you count.
Yeah. So, as we talked before, lots of people think that he is, just homeschooled, but he is not. He's in British Columbia. It's called distributed learning, and it basically means that it's distributed in between teacher, system, and the parent. And he has his evaluation every term, and
He gets a report card. And he sees his teacher, and he follows the BC curriculum.
Yeah, Canadian British Columbia curriculum.
Yes, and he gets his report cards, and he sees his teacher about every 2 weeks for evaluation. So every math we do at home, every project he makes at home, he presents it to her. Like for math, she tests him on math. If he does any science, he presents his findings. Like he did ancient Rome, so he did a PowerPoint presentation for Greece as well.
Amazing plus of the system is that it's like full hour one-on-one evaluation. So like teacher basically knows way better than other kids when they don't get one-on-one.
When you have 30-40 kids in the class, it's hard really to know what the other children are capable of.
Except of the tests. So here, because he presents all the to her, and sometimes they actually do group presentation. So like she actually knows at what level he in everything. So it's actually even better because we have very personalized curriculum and very personalized attitude. And if he's like good in something, he can accelerate versus being slower in other parts, which works marvelous.
Yeah, like now he's in grade 6 and he's already doing grade 7 math, and in some areas he's already at grade 8 level math. So we just work as it works for, as you know, we don't slow him down, he just zooms through, because often in the school system kids have problem if they're good in math or something, then they kind of don't let them to progress a lot always. Well, some do, but not
Accelerate.
but not very often. No, Earl Grey tea, very good.
Black coffee.
Decaf? Oh, just black. How are you?
Not decaf.
Oh.
No, it's decaf, unfortunately. I would love to. My beloved decaf coffee, it's Kicking Horse, and I think it's from BC somewhere. At least it's processed here. I'm not sure if it's the
somewhere on the island. Isn't it on the island? Oh, maybe it's from. Oh, maybe it's Burnaby.
I'm not sure. It's somewhere processed here, and the coffee is pretty great. I mean, not the best. But Pretty good. So yeah, we are yes, it's personalized, and people ask me like, are you going to bring him back to school because for the university? And actually, again, I'm talking about British Columbia, I'm not talking about general. It happens. There is a statistic about this, about 30% of people that go to university fall out because they don't used to be work by their own and be self-motivated.
And as well as those are as distributed program in BC, there is also, you can do just pure online.
Online, but still you have teacher. And still you can be through Skype, you can talk to teacher, and it's very good communication with the teacher.
You just report usually every week what you've learned.
You report, but it's not just. You can actually physically see the teacher and talk to them and present things to the teacher.
It depends how it works.
Yeah.
Some do it, some just report. There's different different programs.
And they're different people, because it's like Adolf doesn't have any anxiety about tests as a general rule, because he used to do tests every 2 weeks without anything. And I know for a lot of kids it's an issue, the test times and
Used to be for me. I didn't like tests.
so he does a lot of tests in these systems, and it's never been.
You're just like, oh, okay.
It's okay. Like, it's not his favorite, obviously, but you know.
And the thing is that often the school teacher, when you have like 40 kids, the school teacher doesn't know what the kid is capable of. And if he has some,
It happened to us
yeah,
before, when he was in the regular classroom.
when
They
he was
had
in
no
grade 3,
idea.
exactly, they didn't even learn multiplication and division yet, and he was way advanced, and he just couldn't just do 2 digits divided by 1 digit. He could do with decimals division and multiplication, and the teacher didn't know that because his challenge was reading. He was very slow in reading, and he progressed slowly with reading, and we got him a tutor that was helping him. But still, the book like was 1.5 pages of reading. By the time you get to the question, he already was ready to pull his hair off, because you know it's so frustrating.
So, and she said, no, he doesn't know math. And I said to him, no, you know that at home he does math for, you know, another 2 classes at least ahead. And said, no, it can't be possible, because he never do it here. And I said, yeah, but what do you expect him from? Oh, you just need to. He just need to read this page, and then take from the page, rewrite it on another, like it's another task, rewrite it on another.
That's right.
And then answer correctly on this. He never finish it. He never does it. So he doesn't know math. I said, maybe he doesn't know reading, and you didn't clue in, or maybe he doesn't know how to rewrite things. But math specifically, it's his very strong
Forte, always
forte.
been. And it was the truth.
That was scary.
And we brought her and showed her like this is what he's doing, and she's like,
no, she didn't believe me.
It's such a big denial.
She said, no, you just said it's not possible.
Yeah, right.
Like, she really said it's not possible. And I said, okay, give him something like that, and I'm going to be outside of the room, just give him to do it. And obviously he did everything okay.
Because, well, he does know.
Yeah. But unfortunately that's what happened a lot. When the kids and that's what I'm talking, when kids are asynchronized, when they're very strong in something
One.
and are very weak in something else, especially if they are weak in reading, and especially if they're weak in the math, you know, all the prime.
And although we got him a tutor in grade 2, and he was going twice a week, the tutor was helping him to read, and he got so much better. But because he would often still stumble and wasn't fluent enough, listen, in grade 3 they sent him home with the book, and they knew, and the book was Little Choo Choo Needs Help. Like, seriously. It was a huge was a big deal. He came home and had a meltdown, and it was just like, we were like, really? This kid who...
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, there was no denial about it. Like, in grade 3, he already knew all about animals, planets, he was very strong in science. He was watching documentaries about things that I've never seen in my existence, about a new anatomy, knew so many things, but because he was slow in reading and wasn't, fluent enough, that's what, he was going also to, obviously, help groups. He went to ASL, English as a second language, ESL then. And then he went to, on top of this help for the weaker students, he's been pulled out of certain classes to help him with that, and that's the book we got. Even though we had meetings in school with, with the principal, with the counselor, with
Everyone.
it was like, oh, just, what? He became so frustrated, so miserable.
You know what? The breaking point for us was when he came home, and he was very, very, very strong in martial arts.
Martial arts.
He was almost black. By the time he was almost black belt, he was like brown belt, I think, or something very close to it.
No.
No, but he was very strong.
Red
And he
twin.
enjoyed it so much.
He was really good, and him. I can't remember which, probably was red.
Yeah.
He just advanced to a new belt, like a higher belt.
Yeah.
It was a couple of belts before the black belt.
And he came home and said, you know what? I'm so not, and I don't think I'm capable of going higher in this belt. And we thought, okay, if it affects his self-esteem so much,
Martial arts, which was never an
issue for us.
We got really scared.
I said, okay, it can be possible, and yeah.
And we suggested that, and he had signs of anxiety of going to school. He had tummy aches. He was like feeling really miserable.
Yeah.
Just not a happy camper. And we did soul searching, found about this program. It's actually, we didn't know about it.
No, we didn't.
Until, late at night I was sitting in the groups, some Facebook groups, and I stumbled upon that. I'm like, oh. And that was it. He was actually sick. He was homesick at those days. And that's it. He was homesick for a couple of weeks. It was really miserable. Had hand, foot and mouth, so we couldn't send him to school. It was just like, it was a mess. And then found out about this program, and he never returned to school. We talked to him, and he was all up to it. We met with the other teacher that would take over him, and that worked miracles since. Never looked back.
And he's very self-sufficient, if he wants to be. Obviously, he's not always wants to be.
Well, obviously, we need sometimes be motivated, So, everybody needs a little bit.
Okay, it's not bed of all roses, but the school is not bed of all roses too. Like sometimes we need to motivate, sometimes we need to be more persistent. But by most part, if you were already sitting and doing stuff, especially in history, especially in social, in science, he will do by himself very much everything. So it's a huge step up from the kid that was so insecure, so that he couldn't even, he was so resistant even to start reading.
Yeah. And it was great. We actually pulled him out, switched to this program of learning.
A different book for math.
Yeah, a different book for math, because they didn't involve so much words. And then we went to Superstore, and actually so this book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and there were 8 of them out by then.
Yeah. It was 4 and 4.
4 and 4.
1 to 3, 4 and 4 to 8.
They're 4 and 4. Yeah.
Packages.
And his eyes lit up, his eyes popped, face lit up, and I was like, oh, I want those. It's like, wow, just pulled him out, and he's expressing, signs of interest. He wants to read. Bought him those books, and that's how he started his reading journey.
Yeah, it was hard because he was so resistant and etc. But so we didn't push. We stopped pushing for a while. We decided as a family and with the teacher that it's okay to stop pushing him for reading, teacher was part of the process, like, and it's okay to let him be for a while and
do other stuff around.
so for science or for social, I was reading him for a while, and then for science I started to read with him paragraph. Like first I read like 2 paragraphs, he was reading 1, then 1. Then he was reading 2, I started reading 1, and now he's reading by himself.
Oh, you can finish like 400 pages book without any pictures, obviously, no novels.
Yes.
For like 5 days, no problem. You can sit and zoom through it, and his reading comprehension is really good.
Which is amazing.
And that's all actually. The Diary of a Kid was a turning point. Thank you. Jeffrey,
Yeah.
thank you.
And another thing, I was because he was such a in the resistant place. What I was doing, I was taking him to library and just sitting there for hours.
Very true. Very true. I'm calling her. Where are you? Oh, we're in the library. I was like, oh, good. And then I'm calling a couple of hours later. Oh, we're still in the library. It's like, okay.
It's
you know what?
like he went and took like different books and started to read and didn't like them, put them back, and then. But the process is to be, I think, among the books and inside the library and with positive, And he really loved it that I'm doing. We did it when he was actually in when kids were in school. So for him it was like extra boost to go to library instead of the school. And now we're taking him, and I was talking to librarians, and then we found we found very good librarian. She is so cool until this day. So she will ask him, what do you want? And she said, scary, not boring. But she's actually writing like scary, not boring, and blah blah blah. And for him, it's like, okay, someone listens to me, and she finds the best books ever most of the time. So it's important to. Apparently, librarians is such an important person in the love of the child to read.
It's like a good teacher.
Yeah. And it's so nice, and she always brings him tons of books that he can choose from, like 10, 12 books that he can, go through and choose like 4 or 5, and usually he ends up to read 2 to 3 out of the 4 or 5, which is awesome, and it's in 3 weeks period, so, or 5 weeks period, depends on the book. So for the last year and a half he was reading, I think.
Oh, we got so many books.
He almost finished. He's really into the Percy Jackson and all of the idea of gods and northern gods, and there are a lot of like books like this, and he's almost finished reading all of them in our library.
There's so many books.
So we need to, and it's a lot of books. So we need now go and find him new books, but but it's so fun, like just thinking about.
Yeah, it's that amazing. Sometimes if there is a lot of resistance, it's not gonna help. Same as with math. If there was a lot of resistance again around some subjects, so we just let it go for a few days.
Yeah.
Then we try again. Sometimes a little bit extra push helps too. It just depends. You have to see.
Usually it's a balance.
It's about. You have to see how it works.
Sometimes you want to push him, sometimes you don't want to push him, and it's like it's a balance. At the end of the day, it's not everything not as smooth sailing as we want it to be.
Sometimes you have no energy to push anyone.
Yeah, but in the end, it's way better.
It's amazing. It's so good.
So.
And he's such a night owl. We can do math at 10 o'clock at night, and it's as bright as me usually at night. Sometimes brighter.
Yeah, and I always say like homeschool. It's not school at home. Because a lot of people want to recreate the same condition.
Yeah, they wake up in the morning, you eat breakfast, you sit, and you for an hour or two did this, and then we take a break, and then after lunch we do this and this. No.
One thing that by the regulation of this book, but recommendation of this book, it's only 2 hours a day of learning. So all the last 4 hours in the school, they actually trying to
Fillers.
yeah, like it's not. It's a trial to behavior to address behavior issue. You need to go in the line. You need to stand. You need to sit. You need to shut up. You not need to shut up. You need to do this. You need to do this. But it's like
Be
most
quiet.
of this. Sorry. Be
But
quiet.
basically, good translation.
Be quiet. Be quiet. Okay, so this is most of the fillers in the school, at least in this age group. Maybe
Well, except for
further.
gym is.
Gym is important. Maybe further, it will be different. But as for now, this is what happens.
And we do so much more, like in so much less time, and it gives him time to explore his interests as well. On top of that,
Even not in comparison.
no, not even in comparison.
Like there is no remotely comparison to this.
You know, when we take him on trips, and mind you, when he was still in school, we always pulled him out and we always went on our trips, and was never even a question about it.
No.
I know in some countries you can't do that. I know in some countries it's a big deal. I know as the kids go higher in grades, it becomes a bigger deal, and some schools really
Yeah.
enforce it. In some countries, I know people pretty much can't do it. But it was never an issue, though. By the time we came back, was already what, end of October, and then he went to meet his teacher in November,
And he finished
beginning of
already.
November, and we were not even behind. Like even by what, mid-December, he already finished all whatever he would do
wasn't even
a
an
couple of
issue.
months before. Yeah, and math we caught up. So sometimes we just do math day after day.
History
math.
he did very
Yeah.
well. Like because this year we're doing like Greek and Roman,
Ancient history.
ancient Greek and ancient Roman, which is quite logical after we've been in Greece, Israel, and
He
all
learns
of the area.
and he learns so much. It totally gives him, when you take a child and you put him in those places where the ancient, Delphi, Athens, anything, Israel, and you see all this history in there.
Jerusalem, it was
Exactly, all of it. Exactly, everywhere you step, there is something.
and you can find the presence of Rome and Greece in there and there. So it's,
For
like,
sure,
it's very
exactly.
interesting to see how wide and how Caesarea. Yeah, so how wide and how.
And then you come and you learn even more into depth of something that you already learned. So you reinforce that knowledge and you learn some other aspects that you already knew. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, great. Yes, we can do
Cheers.
this. We can do.
But again, some kids love school and it works great for them. But you know what?
Some parents can't
Some
be home.
can't be home. That's another problem. But truthfully, in order to keep Ariel at home, and a lot of people who do that make a lot of sacrifices.
A lot.
They shrink their budget. They trying to meet ends with ends, and
In our school, it's a lot of other parents because we're not alone in the school, obviously. So they make a lot of sacrifices, like the women,
So do we.
the men sometimes, like some it depends who works.
usually, that's how it works. You go because if Ariel be in school, we could have more income. We could definitely do different things, and you know what? It's totally worth it. Yes, although we have trips, and people think, oh, we have trips. Yeah, but we save on tons of things. We don't really buy clothes except of a few
Everyone
things
knows
here and there.
already,
Like we just really save as much as we can from any possible direction.
Sure.
Much as we can, because you know what? It is
Worth it.
It's worth it, and it's important to us. So
And no, we don't own our home, but everyone knows this too.
No.
So yeah, I think we will finish for
I think
today.
then we'll never travel.
In
If we don't
Vancouver, in the Greater
Oh my
Vancouver for sure.
goodness. Yes.
We're not going to the market of the real estate in Vancouver area. So yeah, thank you
brutal.
so very much. Let us know what your experience. Let us know if you consider the homeschooling and house in your state and country, because I know that there are different regulations in different places for sure. So yeah, let us know and
Please subscribe, write us a comment, thumbs up, us interest, love you, like, and remember,
remember.
go towards your joy and do something fun every day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.